and Manav Rachna is one of the beneficiaries. We are one of the few institutes that have been given complete EDA licenses.
Like the 76,000 crores Semicon India Program.
Tatas are putting up a 91,000 crore project. We have the infrastructure. They require manufacturing skills. The industry has a demand.
Micron and Tata.
Will be job ready, industry ready from day one.
We know our strengths lie in the chip design.
Manav Rachna is somewhere a little ahead of the rest. That's the strength we have.
Indian VCs are a bit hesitant to invest in or fund.
आकांक्षा बहुत कुछ बदल गया है.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Manav Rachna Podcast, where we bring you the expert POV of leading academicians and industry titans across sectors. This is Akanksha Shrivastava, your host for this episode. So today, we have with us a very special guest, Dr. Ashwini Aggarwal, a semiconductor and electronics industry veteran with decades of experience in technology policy, chip design, and manufacturing ecosystems. Dr. Aggarwal is the board member of Electronics Sector, Skill Council of India, ESSCI, and the chair of Semiconductor Manufacturing Skills Committee there. He has also been the director of Government Affairs at Applied Materials India, shaping India's semicon revolution and display manufacturing landscape. Now, as a professor of practice at MRIIRS Manav Rachna, Dr. Aggarwal continues to play a key role in bridging industry and academia to nurture the next generation of innovators. First of all, heartiest welcome to you, Dr. Aggarwal. It's an absolute honor to have you with us today.
Cheers.
So let's start with this. So India has been positioning itself as the global semiconductor hub with the government-backed initiatives like the 76,000 crores Semicon India Program, and also the investments are now coming in from the industry giants like Micron and Tata, along with the rising excitement around the chip design startups. So you have been that one person who has closely observed the evolution of this industry in India. So my question to you is, while this vision is ambitious, where do you think we stand in terms of execution?
आकांक्षा बहुत कुछ बदल गया है. 10 साल पहले when we looked at the electronic industry, the semiconductor industry, and we made the move to the government to build our semiconductor program for the country, ये लगता था कैसे होगा. लेकिन आज आपने you refer to the ISM India Semiconductor Mission's budget of 76,000 crores and how it's catalyzing the global majors to look at India. Take a look at what has happened. Tatas are putting up a 91,000 crore project in Dholera, Gujarat for manufacturing semiconductor chips. They are putting another 27,000 crore project in Assam to package the devices that they're going to make in Gandhinagar. Micron has put a 30,000 crore investment in Sanand in Gujarat. Okay, CG Semiconductors has put up a 7,500 crore project in Sanand, Gujarat. Keynes Semiconductor has put another 3,500 crore project in Sanand in Gujarat. There are number of other projects that are actualizing at this point of time. Sersa Semiconductors in Bhiwadi is actually operational, having cut their first commercial invoice in last February. There is IDEMIA in Noida, which is the world's largest smart card company, doing that smart card manufacturing out of India, and they do 66 crore smart cards a year. It's crazy. I think India has a real chance of getting its semiconductor industry shaping out. We are no longer zero. We are no longer zero. We have a number of projects coming up. They are still, at conventional nodes, conventional, not that mature, not that advanced technology, more mature nodes. But the industry has a demand for those technologies as well. And people would have said a few years back this is not possible, but it is happening. Those factories are a reality. They're breaking ground. Some of them are now in commercial production. The bigger projects will take time, but they are being monitored to execution, to fruition by the no less than the Prime Minister's office to make sure that the projects are enabled. I think we stand a real chance to see our semiconductor industry happen.
Right. I think India has made commendable progress in terms of policies and investments, but the real challenge does lie in the execution. And speaking of which, I think talent is one of the key factors. So do you think India is doing enough to build that talent pipeline, and how can institutions like Manav Rachna contribute more effectively? Like, for example, we know our strengths lie in the chip design, but we still depend on global players when it comes to high-end fabrication and advanced packaging. So how do you think we can fill that skill gap?
So there are two things. India has a design competence. There is absolutely no debate on it. We have a well-established design industry, even if it is primarily servicing the global MNCs, but we have a design industry in India. Today, government has taken steps to strengthen that. So they are given very expensive EDA packages, the design packages to top institutes, and Manav Rachna is one of the beneficiaries. We are one of the few institutes who have been given complete EDA licenses for Cadence, for Synopsys, for ANSYS. We are one of the handful of institutes who have got LAMP simulator licenses for our students, and we are there on the design. What is more important to understand that design skills are different from manufacturing skills. Factories of Tata's, Micron, CG Semiconductor, Kane, Sesra, they require manufacturing skills. Okay, they require people who can actually create a vacuum and an ultra high vacuum and controlled environments. They require people who understand pneumatics, who understand industrial safety, who know how to handle hazardous chemicals, how to handle hazardous voltages. Okay, this is a totally different suite of skills. To be able to create a plasma ball and use it for etching that semiconductor pattern on a wafer, it's a totally different skill. Now, that is the skill India needs to ramp up on. So the question is, what is the country doing about it? There was a committee created at the Ministry of Electronics and IT, which looked at this topic and made some top-level recommendations. How do we get, our next generation workforce? How do we actually give them that hands-on of these future tech skills? And the solution that came was that we should activate. We have the infrastructure. We have a lot of investment in our labs across the country, in the IITs. There's a need to get it out of the pure R&D mode to look at workforce capacity building mode. And one of the recommendations was that should be a charter given to those labs. The second initiative that has been taken is by Electronic Sector Skill Council, and my committee, which is focused on this. It's also a focus by the packaging group at India Semiconductor Mission. I chair that manufacturing skills committee also, and we said we need to take a look at this problem in a totally different way. If the thought is that you'll create a couple of 100 crores at each of these institutes, and then there are more institutes who will say, I want to invest and create my own lab. Where will it go? Will it actually deliver what is required by the factories? Because at the end, what you give to the institute ultimately is not the fab, it's still a lab equipment. And there's a world of difference between operating on a 4-inch coupon to a 12-inch wafer. The environment is so capricious. You're controlling, the reactions at nano scale. The technologies start evolving even as you go from 4-inch to 6-inch to 8-inch to 12-inch wafer size. How do you do that? So the approach that we have recommended is, we need to be much more focused on what the industry needs. Take the entire process, that manufacturing process, break it down into unit job roles, look at clusters, look at a way where you're not saying that you need a semiconductor industry specialist. You actually must recognize this is a multidisciplinary field. You have people coming in it which are mechanical engineers, computer engineers, civil engineers, chemical engineers, electronics engineers, electrical engineers, and they need to have certifications that top up their basic discipline to meet the specific need of the semiconductor manufacturing. So what we have recommended is, do that, build up those appropriate certifications for those unit job roles, which enable India to build its talent top force. And how do you give them the hands-on? First of all, you give them a good balance between eyes-on and hands-on. Eyes-on means they get the knowledge and they see the content as is. And then they are interned in the capacities which are created so that they can rapidly pick up that knowledge. It's not a rocket science. It's not going to be asking for huge capital expenditure, and the people you create will be job ready, industry ready from day one. So that is the way to address it. That is the way we're trying to implement at Manav Rachna. We have got all the ADA licenses. We are executing that training. Do you know, we are one of the few institutes who have been using it, and this is now on record. Okay, we are one of the few institutes who are thinking of our manufacturing skill programming.
Right.
Okay, we are trying to actually get academia to adopt it across the country. Manav Rachna is somewhere a little ahead of the rest. That's the strength we have.
Right. I think your recommendations were also included in the AICTE curriculum by the government. And when we talk about talent, I think that is the core for any industry revolution, including the semiconductor industry, if I may say.
My recommendations now are part of the AICTE curriculum, revised curriculum announced in 9th April 24. That is good. But they are also now approved as national occupation standards by the Ministry of Skill Development and Environment, which means trainings on those qualify for government grants whenever those grants are announced.
You are one of the key players who are bringing that change on ground. So that's great to hear. But in addition to that, I think having a robust financial backing is also equally important. Which brings me to my next question, is that there's this notion that Indian VCs are a bit hesitant to invest in or fund the semiconductor or electronics startup. Do you think there has been a change in that mindset lately?
See, the VC industry by and large operated on a capex light model. So for them to think in terms of investing in a relatively new area, I can understand the resistance that had been there. But I'm happy to say things are changing on the ground. So if I take a look at the design, fabulous design companies, a number of them have broken ground. They have got interest of the VC, and some of them have actually, graduated out. they have got bought over by larger companies. Tata has made some acquisitions. CG Semiconductors has invested in Lightspeed AI, a photonics chip company. And I think there is a change in the environment that has taken place. I think the government has played a catalytic role in it. First of all, we're seeing our semiconductor industry come up. So manufacturing is coming up. That has a catalytic impact on our design industry. The design industry itself is getting a fillip by the design linked incentive program of the government. That's also one of the catalyzing factors. And then the market has changed. Compared to a few years back, today everybody is seeing the industry come up. So they realize something is happening here. They need to be here if they want to be taking a stronger position for the future. So that is a reality. There's a very good work, creditable work being done by institutions like SAFL. SAFL is a semiconductor fabless incubator in Bangalore, created by the government of Karnataka and India Electronics and Semiconductor Association. It is incubating a lot of design startups. You are having similar efforts taking place in some of the other states. So I think the entire ecosystem is on the rise. This is for the semiconductor design startups. But honestly speaking, the big one is the biggest elephant in the room is the biggest startup we have right now, and that is Tata's. Right. Just imagine a 90,000 crore project shipping up. I think our country is going to see some very interesting evolution of this industry.
That is something I think many people don't know, but they should realize the scale at which the semiconductor industry is now growing. In addition to the financial aspect, I think the next key element is innovation, right? So with the AI hardware like say TPUs or neuromorphic chips becoming mainstream now in the semiconductor industry, do you think if we talk about Indian startups leveraging these technologies, leveraging AI, are we innovating in those areas or are we still playing catch up?
I think we are innovating. There is some exemplary work that's happening in the country on creating new designs. I know of Lightspeed AI. I have been a mentor to that organization. They were creating photonics based futuristic chips which can dramatically scale down the energy requirements in data center application, which can dramatically improve the latency of response in data center operations. And I think the answer is it's a never ending race. India needs to invest in global scale R&D, and I think our startups can leverage the environment to be on par with any other in the world.
Right. I think integration of AI in the semiconductor industry can redefine India's position among the global leaders. But the big question remains, does India have the potential to become a reliable alternative to the big names right now like Taiwan, China or South Korea? Do you think we are already there? And if not, what will it take for us to reach there?
I don't think we are there.
Okay.
On a scale of 0 to 10, maybe we are somewhere no longer 0. Mm-hmm. Maybe we are going to become 1 or 2 with all the investments we are doing. What is more important is that we carve our own unique position in the global semiconductor market. I think we are pretty much geared up for that. We need to take care of the following things. First, I think we should be focused on our manufacturing, and we should be focused on our customers and their design needs. We should be focused on building our supply chain, and if we focus on execution for the market, I think we're going to carve our position.
Okay, one step at a time, right?
It's all of these steps together. It's not just going to be one of it, but we stand a real chance to carve our position in the global industry.
That's great. That's great. So we'll move on to our next segment now, which will focus on the business aspect of the industry. So I'll ask you a few questions and tell us about the promising startups in the area, in the space, and what opportunities they have to offer. So my first question to you is, which Indian startup do you see becoming a global player in the next 5 years?
There are a number of startups here that promise. I think one of the startups that I entered, Lightspeed AI, is well positioned for that. Then I've seen them grow. They have established their base in Singapore. They are here. Latest is CG Semi has invested in them. They have innovated a photonics chip for data centers, which is pretty promising.
Okay, and when we talk about collaboration, do you think Indian startups find it easy to collaborate with the government?
Well, I think there has been a phenomenal improvement in the interaction. But if we take an unbiased view, I think there is still scope of improvement. I think there have to be stronger public-private partnerships. The incubators will have to play a key role in making sure that the startups that they are incubating are handheld and guided through the process of applying for the government grants and understand their responsibilities and commitments and do not try and take shortcuts.
Okay, and if we talk about the career aspect, what opportunities you think there are for the future professionals, and if there are any companies that one should particularly look out for?
Okay, when I take a look at the spectrum of opportunities, I want to cover both design and manufacturing. Design, definitely there is scope for more energy efficient chips, okay, more India secure chips, and I would like to emphasize it because strictly speaking I see a future where in today's world you're seeing a hard reset of the world, and there is an increasing barrier and protectionism. There is an increasing threat of other countries trying to overwhelm our markets in our industry. Right. To that extent, the governments are trying to see how they can protect their industry, how can they protect their financial ecosystems. They need more secure chips. In terms of other job options, it is manufacturing. It will flow into a range of jobs, not just high-end PhD class jobs, but there will also be a role for safety specialists, vacuum technologists, clean room and water tech technicians, people who understand the semiconductor processes, can create plasma and use it for etching patterns. There's a huge base of opportunities which will come up.
Okay, can you list some of the companies who you think will expand in the coming years and there'll be like more career opportunities that way?
Tata's definitely.
Okay.
Tata's definitely. But I think opportunities are going to be there across the ecosystem in semiconductors.
Okay.
In North you have CDIL, IDEMIA, CESRA. I think we will see players like SCL Tech and TARC come in North. Third Eye might come up in North. In West, you clearly have our friends at Tata, Micron, CG Power, and Keynes. Then there is Suchi Semicon, RBR in Surat and Maharashtra. You have projects like Indicam coming up and targeting Andhra. You will have Hermes Semiconductors, Semicon RIR in Odisha.
Okay.
You have Tata again in Assam. So that's nice.
That's quite the list.
Yeah, that's quite a list.
Okay, and for all the initiatives, obviously ample resources will be required in the future. So quickly moving on to our next segment, which is called the rapid fire round. You know the drill. So I'll ask you a few questions and you have to answer the first thing that comes to your mind, and we have to be quick. So the competitive advantage you think Indian startups have over global players?
Hunger, talent, and cost efficiency.
Okay. Are there any startups working in the areas of flexible or wearable tech?
In flexible, there is Leukotronics doing printed ink. In flexible, you also have Checo doing an amazing security solution.
Okay.
Yeah, so just two names to start with.
So one skill you think will be high in demand by 2030?
Two different subjects. Design, I think it will be AI driven chip design. Manufacturing, it will be a whole range of facility management skills, from safety to clean tech to vacuum technologies to process technologies.
Okay. So recently 70 students from Manav Rachna had the experience to go to the Semicon this year. What was the biggest takeaway for them and for you? What do you think?
I think Semicon was an eye-opener, and the biggest takeaway, getting a view of the global semiconductor industry and what it really represented as an opportunity. We talked to the big names, but take a look at the entire supply chain. Okay, the supply chain is so rich, it will open a large number of associated opportunities for the industry.
Okay. So that's that. Okay, and if you have to, like, for example, today if you have to build a new startup from scratch, what problem in the semiconductor industry would you solve?
Energy efficiency.
Okay, and I have a follow-up questions for you again. And if there is another startup and they want you to advise on, where should they venture? Should they get into semiconductor manufacturing or should they double down on chip design?
I think for most people, design is going to be a good place to play.
Okay.
But it is not design itself. It should be market-based design.
Okay.
And market-based manufacturing. That's the key to success.
So that was a power-packed conversation that we had today. But before we wrap up, I have one last question for you. What are your thoughts on the industry and academia connect, and how do you think Manav Rachna and our Innovation and Incubation Foundation is contributing to build that strong startup ecosystem in India? We would love to hear your thoughts and insights on that. So over to you, sir.
So there are two separate parts to your question. First is the industry academia connect, and let me summarize there. The best time in the last decade, the best interaction between industry and academia is taking place now. At Manav Rachna, we are driving it aggressively. We are interacting with them by pulling them into our industry days, by pulling them into our classrooms, getting the students to get a feel of what their perspectives are. And our students are getting into internships out there. We're getting a view of the real industry needs. Our programs are now getting tailored, especially on the manufacturing side, with a clear view of what their manufacturing skill requirements are, so that when they go into the industry, their placement is that much more efficient. Now, the second part of your question is relating to the startup environment. I think MRIIF is one of the best incubators in the state at this point of time. The way we are approaching it is by taking real world problems, trying to build cross-fertilization of diverse skills and future technology to address those real-world problems, and by really hand-holding the startups to move up the value chain and become a success.
So in your own words, this reminds me what you said during Semicon was that yahi samay hai सही समय है, राइट?
बिल्कुल सही बात है। और फिर एक चीज़ और भी कही थी, अभी तो असली उड़ान है बाकी।
बिल्कुल।
अभी तो इरादों का इम्तहान है बाकी। अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर ज़मीन, अभी तो पूरा आसमां है बाकी।
That was great. So this brings us to the end of our today's insightful conversation. Dr. Aggarwal, thank you for sharing your incredible expertise with us. I think this will inspire a lot of students and our viewers to explore more about this industry.
My pleasure, Akansha. Cheers.
Right. And to our listeners, thank you for staying with us till the very end. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to share it with your friends who you think have a knack for it. And if you have more questions for us related to this industry, or you want to explore what courses you should pursue to build a successful career, don't worry, we have got you covered. You can drop your queries in the comments or write to us, and you also have the chance to connect with our experts directly for one-on-one guidance. We have added the details in the description. Reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you. So, see you in the next episode of the Manav Rachna Podcast. Till then, keep exploring, keep innovating.